Hey guys, and welcome back. It's currently 3 a.m. and I'm gonna show you how to take those photos. It might seem very hard to take photos like that, and you might think that only real professionals are able to, but I will show you how you can take photos like that. Yeah, it's dark. There's a big windmill. Most important when taking photos of the Milky Way are the settings, because you don't want to end up sitting at home and having a just totally ruined photo like that. That was one of my first photos I tried to take of the Milky Way, and that was, yeah, I'd say noisy. First of all, we want to adjust the aperture. And that depends on the lens you have on your camera. So I have a aperture f1.8, which is a very fast lens. It depends on your lens. So if you have a normal kit lens, they often have an aperture of 3.5 to the lower the number is, the more light can enter through your lens onto the sensor. Next thing is gonna be the ISO. We wanna have it at something around 800. It depends on your camera when noise starts to become too dominant in the frame. This camera, I wouldn't go too far. So 800 at maximum, I would turn it up to maybe 1600. There are cameras, they have dual native ISO, so I can go to 3200 without a problem. For the most cameras, especially those that are not that professional, I would recommend to stay about 800. I wouldn't go too far, so you don't have a very noisy image out of it at the end. If you have a too high aperture, you might eventually turn it up to, I would say, 1600 to worst case a little above, but I would recommend staying underneath that. Next thing is going to be the shutter speed. We want to have the shutter speed at about 25 seconds. And it's important to don't take it too high. Otherwise, the stars are going to start making lines because of the rotation of the Earth. It's important to have it about like 25 seconds, maybe 20 seconds if you want to have it like really more dots than starting to get stripes. But I'd say 25 is a good combination. You have enough light coming through and you don't have too much stripiness out of the stars. Another thing that you can do if you want to do like a very long exposure to have like very big stripes out of the stars, you can go into bulb mode. Then you can do a 45 minutes shot, and that's gonna make like really long stripes out of the stars, which is a pretty nice effect. Then obviously you have to adjust the other settings a little. A big thing is that you shoot in RAW. RAW is very important when shooting. With the RAW function, you can get so much more out of the image. Here you see a comparison between a RAW image and a normal JPEG image. You can see you can get so many more details out of everything in the RAW image, and the JPEG just kind of compromises everything. Always just go on RAW. Picture mode, just go on auto, that's okay. Auto white balance is okay. If you take photos in RAW, you can adjust the white balance without any issues in post. So if you can turn it off, it is very important to take off the image stabilization of the lens or the camera, because it might happen that the lens is trying to search for motion although it's on the tripod, and that kind of makes everything a little blurrish, or it feels like you shake the camera although it was on a tripod. Always make sure to have the stabilization of the lens off and you won't run into that issue. Two things that I forgot. For having an even more stable image and you don't have any shake in it while, for example, touching the camera while pressing the shutter button, you should put a timer of 2 seconds in it, or have an external remote that I forgot, obviously, because I forgot everything tonight. But 2 seconds timer and you're good. So you press the button, wait 2 seconds, and then it starts to take the image. One more thing, you want to have it in manual focus. You don't want to have your camera doing some weird autofocus at night without any light. So you want to have manual focus, and then you try to find something that's very far away and you try to focus that. And yeah, then you're basically, if you focus that on infinity. And if you're really fancy and you have a DSLR, you can also put out or take out the mirror flipping thing. As soon as you click the button, 2 seconds are over, usually your mirror flips up, and that produces a tiny bit of shake. And if you want to reduce that, you can make it flipped up all the time, if that makes sense. Okay. Okay, 3 things you should take when you're going out additionally to your camera equipment. So the first thing is a blanket or something to keep you warm, because no matter where you are, even if you're in the desert of Arizona, always got cold. So make sure to always get some warm stuff, because I have like a coat, I have a jacket underneath that, and a pullover underneath that, and a t-shirt underneath that, and I'm still feeling cold. So get warm clothing, get a blanket, get gloves. I forgot my gloves. I ruined my microphone. A nice addition to that is also if you have something like hot chocolate or something to keep you warm from the inside, and something you can drink while you have the 25 seconds you have to wait for the photo. It's pretty nice to have something. I forgot that too. Next thing, take your laptop with you, because you don't want to end up with ruined photos and sitting at home and you're already gone from that location, and yeah, that would be really bad. I had this plenty times in my career. I still have my blanket. But you want to have your laptop with you just to check your photos, already do some very harsh editing so you know how it's going to turn out or how you should eventually adjust the settings. Of course, you should take your whole camera equipment, nice lenses, camera, SD cards, batteries, but also take a flashlight. Don't go out with only your phone as a flashlight. And often you want to use the flashlight in your photos, so it's a nice add-on to always have in your pocket when going out at night to take photos. I want to show you a little life hack. It's going to save you quite much energy, let's put it this way, because usually if you want to have someone in the frame, if you're taking a photo of someone like we did of Joshua, he has to stand there for 30 seconds, 25 seconds, and is not allowed to move, because if he does, it's obviously going to be very blurry and awkward and unnatural. But you want to have that crystal clear image of him, and we can achieve that through making the flash effect. So we're taking a flashlight, then we're pressing the shutter button, and then Joshua's gonna stand there, and then I'm gonna do a very short flash on him, like that. And then through that, he exposes on the camera quite bright, and then he can go out of the frame, and then you basically have the foreground and Joshua. Yeah, you gotta kind of play with the brightness of the flashlight, otherwise you have him totally overexposed or totally underexposed. But if you have the right amount, you can achieve a pretty nice effect. So he is enlightened, but also not too bright that it kind of seems unnatural. The problem here is that if you do it and Joshua goes out of the image and you have a quite bright background like we have tonight, because it's a lot of light pollution around, you have the problem that he gets kind of invisible. So look at it, he's getting transparent. Yeah. The same you can obviously do also with subjects. So if you have something that is in the foreground or on the middle ground and you want to enlighten it a little, then you can just point your flashlight at it and do it. I can show you an image here of, well, we've been to the Grand Canyon and we did some photos there, and it was too dark because it was so dark there that the Grand Canyon was just invisible. So we took the flashlight and just pointed it at the Grand Canyon before going out to shoot. That is very important. Otherwise you end up like us tonight, is planning. Because if you don't plan your shoot, you're gonna be ending up very unsatisfied and unhappy. The most important thing is that you view and find a nice spot that is very dark. To find out where the darkest spot in your area is, you just go on the internet site Dark Side Finder, and you have a map there. Yeah, you can see very detailed where in your region it is brighter because of the light pollution of the cities and where it's darker, which is very useful because we're here in the middle of Germany and we have so many little towns and big towns around, and you see all those red lights there is all windmills, tons of windmills. We have a very bright night sky in Germany. We don't have the nicest sky. That's why our photos look like that. Because of Corona, obviously we couldn't leave our country to actually find something darker. That's why everything is very unnatural, brightish in the frame. Very important thing, the brightness of the sky. Second very important thing is that not every day there's like the same amount of stars and all that stuff visible. So you have to plan that as well. So actually when you're going out to shoot your stars. For example, in the Northern Hemisphere, I think the best month is somewhere in September to go out and shoot stars. It's not September, it's April. That wasn't the best, and we don't have the best night sky because of the light pollution. But one thing at least we have, and that is the visibility of the galactic center. Basically the main thing you always see on those Milky Way pictures, that is what you want to have the photo of. Go, for example, on an app called PhotoPills. I think it's called PhotoPills. You can see every detail about the galactic center and the stars and where they appear when and which dates are the best and when the moon is out and yeah, all that stuff. Because it's important that you have no moon around. Because if the moon is also there and you have light pollution, then it's gonna end up with just a white sky instead of having like nice stars pictures. So those are two important things you need to do before going out to shoot, otherwise you're gonna be disappointed. So plan your shoots, very important. I told you that it's very important to plan. We didn't. It was a very spontaneous idea to do that video and to go out and do that night sky shooting. We just have too much light pollution here, so we can't just go out into the dark because we don't have dark. Because like you see on the photo, it seems like the sun is rising, but it isn't. That photo was taken at 3 a.m. So it's not the sun that is rising there, it's just the light pollution, and that's very dominant in Germany. I don't know if you can see it properly. I'm a little too lazy to go and actually take a screen recording. But I think that works. Look at that, look how beautiful that is. So, everything is in German. Sorry. The exposure pretty high, some contrast, took down the lights, changed the color temperature a little because we didn't like the white balance. Add some clarity and structure and sharpened a little and did some noise reduction here and color noise reduction there. And I basically applied that to all the photos. So I hope you enjoyed this video. I'm feeling pretty cold in the meantime. My fingers are very cold. And I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope you're gonna go ahead and subscribe to this channel so I can see you next time. Bye bye.